He has told me more than once that Branch Rickey told him, he said, Judy, the quality of player you are, you could name your price if you was only white. You could name your price. Judy said to him, why do I have to be white?
William Julius Judy Johnson moved to Wilmington, Delaware with his family as a young boy in the early 1900s. Growing up on the city's west side, Johnson began playing sandlot baseball at various lots in the city, including one at the corner of Clayton and 2nd Streets, just a few blocks from his home near Delamore Place. In 1917, Johnson dropped out of Howard High School to take a job on the loading docks in New Jersey. It was here that he would also begin a career in baseball, at a time when men of color believed in America's national pastime more than the pastime believed in them.
The ball players that played back then, it hurts me to a degree where they never got the opportunity to show them their real talent. So they organized, as we know, a league of their own called the Negro Leagues.
Founded in 1920, the Negro National League was the first professional baseball league for African American ball players, featuring teams such as the Chicago American Giants and the Kansas City Monarchs. In 1923, the Eastern Colored League was formed, and the following season, the Hilldale Athletic Club, led by Wilmington's own Judy Johnson, hosted the Monarchs in the first official Colored World Series.
I had heard that Judy was a ball player, but that's all I heard. I didn't know the magnitude of his abilities. It came to me when I saw all the people running to this man at Cooperstown, trying to get his autograph. And I said, well, who is this man? And that's when I realized what a great man he was in the Negro League.
Judy Johnson played third base for the Hilldale Athletic Club from 1921 to 1929, during which time he led the team to 3 pennants, batted over 300 multiple seasons, and over 400 in the 1929 season, when he was also named the Negro League's most valuable player.
In comparison with the today's Major League stars, Judy Johnson was compared to Brooks Robinson as a third baseman. Mike Smith is also compared. But when you talk to either one of those guys, one of them would say, well, if you talk to Mike Smith, he would say, well, Brooks Robinson's the best. You talk to Brooks would say Mike is the best. However, every time they would talk, guess whose name would come up in the conversation? Judy Johnson.
In 1932, Judy Johnson signed with the Pittsburgh Crawfords, where he played until retiring from the game in 1937. He captained the team's 1935 Negro League World Series championship season, arguably one of the best baseball teams ever assembled. The roster featured 5 future Hall of Famers, including Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige, Cool Papa Bell, Oscar Charleston, and of course, Judy Johnson.
So many players that would have excelled in today's world, or back then, if we didn't have a problem with segregation. In my heart and soul, I really feel that the other team, the other players were threatened by these African American players. They were threatened. Not because of their color, but mainly to take their jobs away from them. They could play.
While some of his white counterparts in the major leagues were making tens of thousands of dollars a year, Judy's first baseball contract in 1922 was for $135 a month, an improvement on his prior earnings of just $5 a game.
They played for the love of the game. Rode all night on the raggedy bus, got off, and even played a double hitter. They couldn't get any food because the restaurant wouldn't serve them. When they went into a town, they had to find a place to stay. Some of what was considered then as colored people would rent them rooms. They couldn't go into the motels. No motel, no food, no money. It was only the love of the game. The love of the game.
Judy Johnson walked away from the baseball diamond as a player for the final time in 1937, a full decade before Jackie Robinson would become the first African American to break the color barrier in Major League Baseball.
Judy had the personality, but Judy had the talent also to be Jackie Robinson. Judy he did some of the same thing. We just did not know about it. But he and his wife, Anita, went through the same type of discrimination.
After 14 years working back in his adopted hometown of Wilmington, Judy Johnson was hired as a scout in 1951 by the Philadelphia Athletics. In 1954, he was appointed assistant coach, becoming one of the first African Americans to ever coach in the major leagues. In 1975, Judy Johnson was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. At that time, he was only the 6th black player to ever be awarded Major League Baseball's highest honor.
The children that are playing baseball now should be aware of who Judy Johnson was, what he did. They need to know the roots, the real roots of those African American players, how they played the game, their accomplishments, and let them know that they're standing on the shoulders of great men. And he was one of the great men.